Standing here in front of you, many recognize me as Michelle Butler, Nate's wife, or maybe just the lady in the back with all the kids. You may recognize me as someone who's willing to talk about anything, a person who's transparent almost to a fault, or willing to just sit with you when you need a friend. Maybe you just know me because I make good bread. That's the only reason Will knows me. The many hats I wear today, wife, mom, friend, nurse, bread lady, those are why I have hope and why I know that Jesus is real. Who I am today is a miracle that only God could have woven together. For a long time, I was referred to as the wayward daughter, the prodigal child who ran away from a Christian home, who came back and repented of her sins. It was only recently that I truly understood that I had not been running away. I had been running directly into my Heavenly Father's arms. Growing up, I pictured my home like those old Western cowboy movies, where they had the massive storefronts, the buildings looked huge and amazing on the outside, but then John Wayne goes inside the tavern and it's dark and dirty and small, and there's a lot of people yelling. On the outside, my storefront looked like a pastor's family. My mom was a pastor's wife, my brother and I were pastor's kids, and my dad was a beloved pastor. I remember how often I was told how blessed I am. So fortunate to have the parents that I do to raise me and my brother. But the inside was different. I lived in a home filled with a lot of rage, a lot of secrets, and a lot of pain. My dad was an angry man most of the time, and my mom focused more of her attention on maintaining her own lies and very little attention to me. I carried the burden of those secrets. I felt obligated to keep the outside vision of the family safe. But I also hated being there. I spent most of my teenage years running away, in a sense, spending as little time at my house as possible. I sought out relationships with my friends' moms and my boyfriend's mom. Some of them really saved me in that time, and I'll always be grateful to them for that. I was scared to go home, but I was scared to leave, because if I left, I would not be able to keep tabs on everyone's mood. So when I came home, I had no way of knowing what type of bomb I might be walking into. It feels like a betrayal to share this, because not every moment in my house was bad. But when we had a good moment, I was acutely aware of how I acted or what I said, because in one incorrect move or comment would shift the entire environment, and the good moment would be gone in an instant. I was exposed to all of my parents' secrets. I kept my parents' secrets, and then when I turned 18, I left, and I moved in with my boyfriend. Unsurprisingly so, that relationship with that boyfriend did not work out. But it wasn't long before I met my husband, and God truly began to mend the very broken pieces of me together. Nate and I began our life together in 2015, but in January of 2019, the Lord brought us together in His name, and we began our life together with Christ at the center. Even still, at 23 years old, I had not fully understood that the home I came from was abusive. In my mind, since there were no bruises on me, and I had always had clothes and food, I did not realize that what I experienced was abuse. For almost 6 years exactly, I lived my life believing that my parents' problems were exactly that, theirs, and that if I worked on myself hard enough, I did not need to worry about them. Right up until this past summer, when I got a front row seat to how this cycle of abuse had started to directly affect my children. I realized that the things that happened to me are things I could never dream about doing to my children, but those things had started becoming something my kids experienced when I was not around. The bravery of a very close friend coming forward to share her experiences was a gift from God. Hearing her describe a life that shared so many similarities to my own life has truly been an encouragement to me in my own healing journey. I know that God had a firm grip on me, and He put me and her together at this time because He knew I was ready to face my childhood, acknowledge my abuse, and begin the work it would take to heal from it. But He also knew that I was going to need a family. I was going to need a support system, and Fireside, you have been exactly that for me. The home I have today shares the same vision on the outside as it does on the inside. My hope is in Jesus because it is through Him that I find strength to admit when I'm wrong, to ask for help when I feel like I don't know what to do, and to be transparent when it feels better to try to hide something. I'm able to have hope in Jesus because of the reflection of Him that I see in my home today, because of the safety my kids feel in their home. When every part of my life had molded me into somebody who would keep secrets and prioritize my own well-being, Jesus helped me to lean on him, to trust in him. I'm able to trust in him because of the delicate and intentional way he has cared for me. He gave me a husband who has the same drive that I do to be transparent and to grow to be more like Jesus. He gave me this community of friends who love me, who are willing to correct me when I need it, and love me the way Jesus loved. Even though the home model I grew up with was painful to experience, I now get to be a part of a family that offers true love and compassion and grace. That is my story of hope.